Heyo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight. If you are studying criminal law, or you're a criminal justice attorney, or you work in the judicial system in any way, you probably enjoyed the shit out of tonight's Monday Night Raw, didn't you? You know who didn't enjoy Monday Night's Raw tonight? Wrestling fans. At least wrestling fans with a brain, like I know you are, and you all know that I am, and we are going to talk about why Monday Night Raw sucks so bad right here and right now. My name is Nick Nightmare, and you're watching the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's Monday Night Raw review. Let's do it.
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
20 years ago, Hell in a Cell, The Undertaker versus Mankind. That's pretty much the only sentence you need to say. It brings back memories for you. You probably remember exactly where you were when you watched Mick Foley's gigantic flop from the top of the cage, exploding through the announce table, separating his shoulder blade in that first initial fall, and then everything else that would come after. You remember every single moment. It is an epic moment in the history of the WWE. It is one of the reasons why the Hell in a Cell is the most feared structure, even more so, I think, than the Elimination Chamber in WWE history. We have the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, and this was the go-home show for Monday Night Raw. And the WWE wants to take this moment. They want to take this specialness away from us by jamming it somewhere that it does not belong. Oh, well, it's Hell in a Cell this weekend. What do you mean it don't belong to be talking about it? Well, it really doesn't. It really doesn't, and I'm going to tell you why. First of all, since that epic encounter that they want to talk about 20 years ago, the Hell in a Cell has become a watered-down shadow of itself. It is a shell of what it could be and what it really used to be. Where has it been used? With one exception over the last 20 years, being the end of the era WrestleMania Hell in a Cell that has recently been being talked about, no other Hell in a Cell match even really matters. What matters to you? Rusev versus Roman Reigns? That was a real Hell in a Cell match. It has become a gimmick pay-per-view all its own, which we are going to be treated to this Sunday. It does not mean what it used to mean. It has no specialness whatsoever anymore. But why does it not need to be talked about now? Well, I got a few facts for you guys. First of all, right now, it is not the 20th anniversary of anything. The Hell in a Cell match that we're talking about tonight happened on June the 28th, 1998, which means the 20th anniversary that you just suddenly want to celebrate happened 2 months ago. It didn't happen at a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. It happened in a Hell in a Cell match at a King of the Ring. So what anniversary are we celebrating on this day? 20 years ago what? 20 years ago today? 20 years ago from Sunday? 20 years ago from the pay-per-view? No, it's 20 years from 2 months ago when we didn't give two shits about it and we didn't want to fucking talk about it. Why are we bringing Mick Foley into the equation? What the fuck does he have to do with Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman inside Hell in a Cell, outside of his name being synonymous with the structure that they are fighting in? What is his investment in this matchup? It just goes to show you the lengths that the WWE is going to go through to make you give a shit about a Roman Reigns match. Why are you going to care just because Mick Foley is there? His involvement means nothing. What could it possibly do? What is Roman going to accidentally bump Mick Foley? Is Braun Strowman going to attack Mick Foley in Hell in a Cell? Who wants to see that? Mick Foley just got his hip fixed. You want to break him again? It's fucking pointless. There is no other reason to be bringing this up right now. than to just hype it for no reason. You're effectively adding Mick Foley to this shield that they are building around Roman Reigns. They've already extinguished Seth Rollins' Intercontinental Championship reign. They stifled Dean Ambrose's return. They turned Braun Strowman heel. They've taken the entire roster and turned them all against Roman Reigns, at least in the heels side of the equation. What else can they do? They're going to take a legendary moment and they're going to piggyback it on a stupid Universal Championship match that nobody wants to see. You think having Mick Foley in the middle of that ring is going to stop people from voicing their opinion or chanting their displeasure towards a Roman Reigns? That is definitely not what's going to happen. And it's no clearer than what we've seen. I mean, it's a continuation of everything we've seen all year young. They sabotaged the WrestleMania main event for this man. They sabotaged the ending of SummerSlam for this man, and they are going to continue to do so. We are only getting started, so everybody strap on in, like I like to tell you, and get ready, because we're going to be taking it up the ass from Vince and Roman and company for God knows how long. Vince has what he wants, and now there seems to be absolutely no end in sight. No end in sight. Let's take a step away from that, because we will revisit this whole Hell in a Cell nonsense many times throughout this review. Where the hell was Sasha Banks? Can somebody tell me who she spit on? Whose beer did she piss in? Who did she upset that she is suddenly and so certainly excommunicated from the women's division, seemingly? Sasha Banks, Ember Moon, Bayley, nowhere to be seen on this night. In the midst of a women's revolution, right? A women's revolution that they pretty much kick-started with their awesome match that they had at NXT. We keep saying this over and over again. I'm no fan of the Boston connection. I still can't say it, even when I'm talking in defense of them. I cannot say the Boston connection. It's not going to come out. I'm sorry, you guys. So Sasha and Bayley, right? They are involved in stuff on Raw, right? Weren't they fighting with the Riot Squad? Wasn't that what they were doing? No, we got no time for you guys tonight. We got a spot for Alicia Fox tonight. We got to see her fucking face on TV. We have to spend all our time doing other things. Forget Sasha Banks and Bayley. We don't really know what to do with them. We had them in therapy. That didn't work. We're trying to make them friends again. It's not seeming to work. People don't seem to know what they want to do with Sasha and Bayley. They don't know where they're going with Sasha and Bayley on the creative team. It's been a fucking mess all year long with them, so they have been removed from the show, seemingly. We got time for Nikki Bella to dim the star of Ruby Riott just a little bit, right? We got time for that, though. We got time on this card for a tag team match that was just absolute disaster. Disaster. And that's what you get when you want to put Ronda Rousey as the figurehead of the women's division on Monday Night Raw, your flagship show, when she's been wrestling for barely 6 months. This is what you're going to get. Long, awkward stares in the middle of a match. Literally dead stopped in the mid-motions, just staring at each other. Her and Alexa Bliss. What's the difference? Alicia Fox, Alexa Bliss, neither one of them can fucking wrestle worth a lick nowadays. Mickie James. It's a staring contest. We'll get back to that later as well. We got time for SmackDown promos. Apparently Monday Night Raw knows how much they suck, because they've been airing all of the real storylines that are going on from SmackDown Live. Full-on promos. 3-4 minute packages. Is this what we're going to see tomorrow on SmackDown? Are they going to talk about all the Raw matches? I don't want to see that. I've seen enough of that shit tonight. I don't want to see that ruining SmackDown Live. Raw is trying to take the momentum from SmackDown Live. Hey, what they got going on over there is so much better. Why don't we show that on Monday Night Raw a little bit? Maybe it'll make our show not seem so fucking boring. We got time for the Kindness Cure kids, which I have no problem with, but I will say this about that. Those kids deserved a better spokesperson than... The guy couldn't even get the fucking kids' names out right. At least give them somebody who can speak eloquently and clearly. I'm sure all those kids had absolutely no problem with the Big Show. I'm trying to fix my hat here. I'm sorry, you guys. But, come on. Really. That's all we're going to say about that. We got time to talk about the People's Choice Awards. Oh my God. Which essentially is more time given to the Bella Twins, because who is the subject? We have 3 categories we're going to talk about. Reality Star of the Year, Nikki Bella is in the running. We got to send the entire universe to E.com to vote so that we can fucking troll that vote line and make sure Nikki Bella wins. And then they got to say, oh, Total Divas Reality Show of the Year. And then they want to say Game Changer of the Year. And the nominee for Game Changer of the Year is Nia Jax. What fucking game did she change? Parcheesi? What the fuck is she playing backstage that she's changing the game? Because she ain't changing the game on television. She ain't changing the game in the ring. She ain't changing anything about Total Divas. It's the same fucking show it's always been. Scripted, nonsense, ridiculous entertainment. Sure, I watch it, but that's because I'm a stickler for fucking torture. That's why I watch Monday Night Raw, because I like things that make me angry, apparently. How the hell is Nia Jax a game changer? She's not even on the fucking show anymore. That's how much she changed the game. She's so good at the game, let's just leave her off TV entirely. She changed everything. What are you, fucking brain dead? Holy shit. Why? Because she's The Rock's cousin? She changed the game? Because she's a big girl? She changed the game? I don't understand it. We got time to talk about this on Monday Night Raw. Now, I have to talk about it on my fucking channel, and I don't want to talk about this shit. We got time for fucking Law and Order minisodes throughout the whole entire evening. We got Constable Dickhead with his police force, and then we're talking about Napoleonic codes. What the fuck is a Napoleonic code? One of you criminal justice kids that I asked you guys at the beginning, I know one of you is smart enough to know what the fuck that means. If you're in or from Louisiana, obviously it's a code strict to your state. What does it mean? How is that fucking code relevant to anything going on a Monday Night Raw? Are you fucking serious? If I want to watch fucking criminal episodes, I will watch CSI. I will watch Law and Order. I don't need it on my WWE. And then you got Seth Rollins in the middle of this thing coming out and saying an asinine fucking statement going, oh, 25 years in the history of Monday Night Raw, and now the Shield gets arrested. Nobody gets arrested on Monday Night Raw, blah, blah, blah. How many times was Stone Cold Steve Austin arrested during the Attitude Era? Be consistent. At least know your fucking history and don't say stupid ass backwards things like that. This show is a fucking disgrace. Raw hits the repeat button again. Did I mention that? Half the show was the same exact show as last week. We have the Shield brawl at the beginning with the entire roster being ejected from the show. Stricken from the arena, not allowed to return. And we got Baron Dickhead telling him, if you come back, I'm stripping you guys of the titles. Seth Rollins will no longer be the Intercontinental Champion. He's not the Intercontinental Champion anymore, as it is, if you ask me. And Roman Reigns won't be the Universal Champion. Yeah, like Vince is going to let that happen, right? Only to have them come back and none of the consequences actually be played out the way the interim general manager has deemed it so. So how much power does Constable Dickhead actually have? Huh? 0. Awful. The B-Team rematch from 6 days ago for the World Championships, the Raw World Tag Team Championships. Did you give a shit? Did you think they were going to win? Awful. Gable and Rude. The Glorious Gables. Renee Young stealing my fucking phrase right from social media. I was tweeting Ready, Willing, and Gable all last Monday. She had to shout it out tonight. I don't know if she's seen it from me or not, but I'm going to throw it out there, and I'm going to take the credit whether she wants to give it to me or not. I feel like I'm the first person that threw it out there, and then everybody wants to jump on my bandwagon. Some of the things you can never tell with social media. Same exact fucking finish. Same opponents, same finish. The Glorious Gables versus the Dissension. What point do they even serve on the roster anymore? If I was them, I would just fucking wait for my contract to be up and leave. Just go, because there is no value left in you. You are being beaten 2 weeks in a row by a makeshift team that the only purpose that I really see is for Bobby Roode to turn heel. That's another point that we've been talking about on this show way too much. I'm tired of even talking about it because I don't even think it's going to come. I have a feeling that they're going to turn it around in our face. Maybe Gable and him is going to end up working out and they're going to be in the tag team division making it glorious. No. Not in my eyes. Another useless Authors of Pain squash match of two local jerk-offs. Right? It's all the same shit we saw last week. The Bellas involved against the Riot Squad. All the same exact shit. Same exact shit. And then the first 30 minutes of this show was pretty much focused around Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker and what happened last week. How many times were they going to show Triple H's fucking face in the first half an hour? I thought I was going to get poked in the face with his nose. Thank God I don't have a 3D fucking TV. It would have smacked me right in the mouth. They even had time to talk about it during Nikki Bella's matchup, for lack of a better term. They're talking about Triple H and Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, while Nikki Bella's fighting Ruby Riott for the first time ever. That's how important this is. So there's got to be something more to it. They wouldn't be putting all this and getting it all involved the way they are doing it, putting it as a centerpiece almost of Monday Night Raw. How many times did we talk about it? How many times did we mention it even after it happened? Actually thought Mick Foley was going to be brought in to put in his 2 cents on this whole feud, because that's what's kind of been going on with the Legends, been talking shit about who they think's going to win and why. I thought we were going to have an encounter between Triple H and Mick Foley, two of the greatest rivals ever in the history of wrestling, leading up to the Hell in a Cell, which is happening this Sunday. They have history in the Hell in a Cell. I thought that's where I was going to see Mick Foley, but instead, Mick Foley gets thrown in the mix of this whole other fucking thing that he does not belong in. This, you guys, is Monday Night Raw's review for September what the fuck date is it? They made me lose my track in time. For September the 10th. It's technically right now the 11th, but Monday Night Raw was September the 10th. We had Braun Strowman come out with the whole roster, like we said, just like the way the show went off the air last week, but he wants to talk about everything, and he wants to deem himself a group name. The Dogs of Boar. That's not what he said. That's what he meant. But he labeled his little faction the Dogs of War to combat Roman Reigns' Hounds of Justice. Who was the creative genius to come up with that little nugget? Oh, Mr. McMahon, sir. I have a nugget, sir. Roman's got the hounds. Let's give Braun the dogs. The Dogs of War, sir. I love it. Make a t-shirt. Guarantee you easy fucking t-shirts. Sooner than you think. Corbin has the Shield removed after this whole brawl. Let's get through this fucking review before I just jibber-jabber and vent my frustrations all night. Whether you guys love it or not, we got to get through this review together from top to bottom, so let's do it. And please make sure you let me know what you guys thought about the show down in the comments section below. Brie Bella and Nikki Bella had their locker room ransacked. I wouldn't call it ransacked. You had words written on the walls. The Riot Squad showing their staple behavior of actually doing very little to anything that actually resembles a riot. Oh, let's cross out Brie Bella's name and write Riot over there so it says Riot Mode. That's causing a fucking riot. Why wasn't there some glass broken? A chair flipped, maybe TP the whole place. That'd be a little more riotous than using some lipstick on the wall. Oh, let's write things. Oh, we're so riotous. And then the commentary team during this match made me want to fucking puke, because much props and respect to Renee Young for being named onto the Raw announce team permanently. I much prefer her to Jonathan Coachman. That is probably a universal thing throughout all of us. It's a very, very much more pleasant environment. They do seem to be having a little bit of fun, a little more so than usual, not as combative with each other as usual when we hear Coachman or Booker T on the microphone. However, this is no fault of anybody on the team. This is the fault of the idiots that write this show. They gave these guys so much copy to deliver, to try to put over Nikki Bella. Let's talk about how she's such an empowering figure, and they had so much to talk about that they couldn't even get it out before the next line had to be said, or another move was called, or somebody had to stop mid-sentence. Oh, she's been doing this, and she's an entrepreneur, and she's a... And then she had to do this, and then she's got this, and she's got the talking about all of the things she's doing outside of wrestling while she's in the ring wrestling to try to make us see how much bigger they actually are than the women's division. That's a good thing to point out, while she's burying the one woman on Raw that they actually were putting some stock into. They were actually building Ruby Riott above anybody else that has come up recently. Ember Moon's been on the sidelines. Asuka's been used like shit. The Iconics have been used like shit. Ruby Riott and her Riot Squad, the Smurf Blower and Lady Viking Strowmanette, Smurfette and Strowmanette, they were building them up as something. Was the whole point to build them as something special, to feed them to the Bellas upon their legendary comeback? This is why I didn't want the Bellas around for things like this. It's that John Cena syndrome. Oh, they're big. They're bigger than the business. They're more popular than anybody on the roster because of what they're doing outside of wrestling. So let's have them be superstars in the world of wrestling again. They just don't come off as fitting to me. They don't seem to fit with the current crop of the girls. And I don't see Nikki Bella's wrestling ability improved at all. Like I said, the women's action on this night was very, very spotty, especially coming off all the greatness that I seen in the Mae Young Classic. I turn to Monday Night Raw and I see this Nikki Bella matchup that was really, really stiff and very spotty, and then the tag team matchup, like we said, which was essentially a fucking staring contest between four women. Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, like I said, they were hyping this so much that there just has to be something more to it. And then I'm noticing on social media that Shawn Michaels is hyping a new t-shirt that the WWE shop is putting out. You tell me when there has ever been a t-shirt put out for a superstar that is not going to be on the active roster. Even The Undertaker doesn't get new t-shirts as he's been on the outside unless he's coming back to wrestle, like at a WrestleMania or when he showed up to beat up John Cena. When The Undertaker shows up, there seems to be something new to sell alongside him. Shawn Michaels now has a new t-shirt to sell. Does that mean he's going to, in fact, come out of retirement and grace the ring again, which I don't believe he should do, which is another story for another day. It's just a little bit of a hint that points in that direction, possibly being where they're going. So the Authors of Pain are just the AOP now. Right? They took the specialness away. They added Drake Maverick, right? And then they took away the words, only making them smaller still. You got Drake Maverick, who's about half their size, trying to tell these two big, beefy behemoths what to do. It doesn't come off like they're listening to him at all. Why would you listen to him when you can't even fucking see him? They can look down and they won't even see him over their muscles. He's so minuscule in comparison to the authors of Pain. AOP is a terrible moniker. Oh, they're opening up a new chapter as the AOP with Drake Maverick. Drake Maverick's found gold. You know why Drake Maverick's found gold? Because they're putting him in the ring with two guys about the size of fucking Drake Maverick. Look at these two idiots' names. Ronnie Ace and Nathan Bradley. Both of them were barely even as tall as Drake Maverick. Why are we seeing this? You want to impress people with the authors of Pain, and this is what you're doing? You're restarting the book from page 1, and you're writing the same fucking story you wrote the first time, which is going to end in disaster. And Drake Maverick is not going to change a fucking thing about it. Super collider to these two jerk-offs. The authors of Pain get the win. Ooh, surprise! I mean, at least they're winning, I guess. But how could you not beat two guys the size of a fucking hot dog? Combined. Ridiculous. Then we had the promo for Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy's Hell in a Cell match coming up this Sunday. This was so far, at this point, the most entertaining part of Monday Night Raw. Watching this promo package. Absolutely fantastic work by the package guys, as they always do. And they made this match look even bigger than it's going to be. But isn't this supposed to be what's happening tomorrow night on SmackDown Live? Really? Triple H shows up. He arrives in a limo backstage. He passes the fucking armed guards that Baron Dickhead's got waiting in case the Shield comes back, who are completely fucking inept because you know the Shield's going to come back. He hits the ring and he says that he accepted this match with The Undertaker out of respect. But he has now lost respect for The Undertaker because The Undertaker gives a shit about what Shawn Michaels thinks. Apparently, The Undertaker, having feelings, gives Triple H the reason to not show him any respect anymore. Oh, well, you care about what my best friend thinks about you, so now you're a jerk-off and I don't respect you anymore. What? What? None of that made sense to me. Triple H says The Undertaker blames HBK and himself for being the reason why he has not been the same since the end of the era Hell in a Cell match. And since then, the streak has been broken. He is barely a shell of himself, and he's become nothing more than a reputation. Pretty heavy words being dropped down by the game. And he is going to put him down at the Super Showdown. And then Triple H walks off, and that was it. Again, I expected much more out of this, especially given how tremendous that segment was last week with The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. But again, I want to bring to the forefront the same thing I said to you guys last week, when the most compelling parts of a Monday Night Raw in 2018 involve Shawn Michaels, Triple H, The Undertaker, and Mick Foley. Something is wrong with the current state of affairs on the main roster. Tag team title rematch, McIntyre and Ziggler beats the B team. Who cares? Who cares? The only thing to care about was Rollins and Dean Ambrose making their way back to the ring without Roman Reigns coming in from the crowd, not as the Shield. Here's where things are going to get me pissed off again. So Rollins and Ambrose attack after the match. They send Ziggler and McIntyre running for the hills, and that will be the end of that. We talk about the Hell in a Cell Mick Foley highlights. They showed a nice package showing everything that he went through on that night with The Undertaker that we talked about at the open of this show. Then we have Kevin Owens come out to the ring, right? Kevin Owens comes out, still no explanation on really why he quit or anything like that at this point. So Kevin Owens comes out to the ring and he's going to have his match, right? We don't know who he's going to face, as now it becomes once again Law and Order SVU. Constable Dickhead is in the back with Seth and Dean. He says that he's all pissed off now. Oh, you know what I have to do now? I have to fire you guys. I have to strip you of the title, whatever the fuck his consequences were. But then it gets really weird. And Seth Rollins brings in a sheriff who coincidentally had the last name of Ambrose, in case any of you guys missed that when they showed his little name tag. It was G. Ambrose. Just thought that was a little weird. Or coincidence? Maybe, but probably not. Seth Rollins says they are not the Shield. It's just Seth Rollins and Dean. Dean echoes the same sentiment. It's like, listen, we're not the Shield without Roman, right? We're not the Shield. We're just Seth and Dean. You can't do nothing to us. And under the Napoleonic Code of Louisiana, some sort of fucking loophole that they didn't want to explain any further, they want to press charges on Baron Corbin for falsifying police reports and all kinds of fucking nonsense. And then Baron Corbin starts backpedaling. He's like, whoa, hey, listen, Seth, can we talk privately? Whatever. Dean Ambrose leaves with the other Ambrose. And then Seth Rollins comes out. He's like, we got what we want. Blah. And then they fucking leave. And then Kevin Owens is still in the ring throughout the entirety of this thing. It was nowhere near as quickly as I just laid it out to you. The guy was out there by himself in the ring, waiting for his opponent, while these two jerk-offs were in the back arguing with Constable Dickhead over legalities on Monday Night Raw, and Kevin Owens is just standing there. Only to get Tyler Breeze. Tyler Breeze comes out to the ring. The match does not even get started. Kevin Owens absolutely annihilates Tyler Breeze, hits him with that powerbomb onto the ring apron. Tyler Breeze out cold. Kevin Owens hits the ring, grabs himself a microphone, and he wants to explain the whole quitting situation. He says, I quit because of Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley made you quit? Because Bobby Lashley took out his best friend. And I came back because Baron Constable Corbin Dickhead begged me and begged me and begged me to come back because he knows I'm the main star. I'm the main attraction on Monday Night Raw. And he gave me carte blanche to do whatever I want. So everything I just did, I'm allowed to do. Everything that I'm about to do over the next couple of days, I'm allowed to do because Constable Dickhead says so. And he's got his sights set on Boring Trashley because Boring Trashley took out Sami Zayn. And ever since Sami Zayn's been gone, Kevin's life has been a living hell. He hasn't had his best friend. So you can blame it all on Sami Zayn. From this point on, it's going to be anarchy, agony, and destruction, and it's all Lashley's fault. Why is it Lashley's fault? Think back, guys. When Bobby Lashley was doing his thing with Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, were they not on the outs at that point? At the very least, they had already been broken off into two separate lines. They were no longer Sami and Kevin. We were not very happy about it, as it was one of the more entertaining things that was going on Monday Night Raw until the appearance of Boring Lashley took Sami Zayn out of the equation and they separated them to begin with. So, unless that's what he's referencing, then maybe he has a point, but that's not what he's talking about. He's talking about how Bobby Lashley hurt Sami Zayn, injured Sami Zayn, and by that point, even Kevin Owens wasn't talking to Sami Zayn, so the whole reasoning behind it doesn't really make sense. All of this momentum that they are building up for Kevin Owens right now on this return, he was excellent on the microphone, as he always is, but his message kind of fell upon deaf ears. Nobody really gave a shit. It's going to send him in the direction of Bobby Lashley, which means he's just going to fucking lose again. Bobby Lashley, interestingly enough, had a promo segment where he was working out in the back. WWE wants to throw Lio Rush at him. Lio Rush, sidebar for a second, stick with me, you guys. If you don't know about Lio Rush, I was exposed to Lio Rush in my time at House of Glory 2 years back. It was during my first show there, actually. It was one of the first times I ever got to see him. The man is incredible. If you watch anything on YouTube with Lio Rush from House of Glory, whether it's his match with Ken Broadway or anything that he put on, absolute 5-star machine. Lio Rush is fantastic. His microphone skills are fantastic. His in-ring work is second to none. Sure, he's a smaller guy, which is why they put him on 205 Live. But now, just like they did with Drake Maverick, they took him from 205 Live, put him on the main roster as a manager? You don't respect his wrestling ability enough to put him on to showcase what he can do in the ring, but you want him to be a sideshow fucking clown for boring Trashly, jumping around like that tiny little fucking dog. You guys ever watch Warner Brothers where they had that big dog, and his name was Spike, and he was all big and burly, and he had that little tiny yappy friend, and he used to be like, hey Spike, what are we gonna do today, Spike? Blah, 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 blah. That's gonna be fucking Leo Rush? Absolutely terrible use of Leo Rush. Putting him next to that man, pretty much, why don't you just send him his walking papers right now? Give him a pink slip and let him go back to House of Glory. You should have let him leave fucking months ago. At least he could have been at All In. Fucking terrible. Gable and Rude versus the Ascension, like we told you guys, the exact same match as last week, and I mean that in most literal of terms because the finish was exactly the same. It was the exact same thing that we saw last week. Absolutely nothing new. Nothing new. Where this is going, one of two ways. We'll have to wait and see which way it goes. We got Dolph Ziggy Biggie all frustrated backstage when Constable Dickhead comes back, explains to him, hey, listen, because of this Napoleonic code, I had to give these guys a tag team championship match at this Sunday's pay-per-view. So now we're going to have Ziggler and McIntyre versus Rollins and Ambrose. What do you think's going to happen? We'll talk more about that on the preview and prediction show coming up before the weekend. Alexa Bliss and Mickie James with Alicia versus Natalya and Ronda Rousey. The only thing of note in this match, besides how tremendously bad it was there was one spot where we saw Ronda Rousey and Natty double team Alexa Bliss and execute the heart attack. If you don't know what that is, youngins, it was the finishing maneuver of the Hart Foundation, which was her father's tag team with Bret the Hitman Hart. Just a little education for those of you who may not know, which is probably none of you, but still. This is a epic thing for her to do. This is the first time we've ever really seen her do this, and it was with a formidable opponent in Ronda Rousey. Listen, I give her credit for what she was. What she is in the ring right now is still a work of progress, a work in progress. And she's not progressing as quickly as I would have hoped for somebody in such an athletic career coming into this thing. But don't you think that should have been the finish of the match? I certainly do. If that match was going to end, it was not necessary for it to have to end in an armbar on Mickie James. You should have had it not be Alexa Bliss that took the heart attack. You could have had it be Mickie James and have Ronda get the pin off of that move. That's the right way to pay homage and pay tribute. It is one of the greatest tag team finishers of all time. It has been responsible for beating some of the greatest teams to ever come down the pipe, from Demolition to the Rockers to the Bulldogs. The list goes on and on. You're going to execute this move. You should be treating it with respect, and it should have been the way Ronda and Natty got the win tonight. Instead, we went to commercial, and what followed was all of the rest of the things that I was complaining about. Honestly, if you would have cut the match right there and ended it, my opinion on this match would be tremendously different, and it would be good. It would have been good, but they gave this match too much time. It exposed Ronda's weaknesses. The girls were blown up in the ring. It seems at point that their timings were so off, like I said, that they literally were just standing there staring at each other because they forgot what the fuck to do. Go back and watch it if you think I'm wrong. If you missed it the first time, you'll notice it now that I pointed it out to you. Bad. Very bad. All for it to end up with Alexa's big doe eyes staring in fear at Ronda Rousey as she's got Mickie James all wrapped up. Did you give a shit? The other story coming out of this now is apparently Ronda's got injured ribs. I don't know if that's going to be taken into account coming into Sunday in her match with Alexa Bliss. We'll talk more about that this weekend as well. We're winding down here, getting towards the end. Hopefully you guys are still with me. If you are, make sure you hit that fucking thumbs up. This way I know for sure. We got Elias showing up. Remember when Elias used to wrestle? Apparently the WWE does too, because they actually put him in a match tonight, although it made absolutely zero sense to have this match. Elias was getting some coffee in the back, right? He spits it out. Apparently it wasn't made to his liking, and we have Braun Strowman searching the back for Roman Reigns. Now, not only do I feel like I'm watching last week's show, I feel like I'm back in last year. This is exactly the way we seen it last year when he was chasing down Roman Reigns, flipping him over loading docks, strapped to the back of gurneys, and doing all those crazy things he was doing to Roman Reigns, running roughshod over the entire backstage area, flipping around crew members, throwing garbage cans, kicking steel pipes, all the same shit, and it all came off very kind of hokey, if you ask me. It just was not genuine, and it did not feel as intense as it did the first time around, because we seen this already. So why do we give a shit? I certainly didn't. What else do we got here? Charlie Caruso backstage with Ronda Rousey. She looks all fucked up. She's got big dark circles under her eyes. I don't know if she was crying or she was sweating her makeup off. But all she had to say is it doesn't matter. She's going to be there Sunday because even on her worst day, she's still the very best. A very good line for her, I thought. And I think that should be something that she sticks with. Then we have Elias come out to the ring with the same old fucking song and dance, talking shit about New Orleans, saying some shit about Drew Brees. I wasn't really paying attention because I'm just so tired of it. I just want to see the guy wrestle and be given success. Part of me feels like they really, really missed the boat in that window of opportunity that they had when Elias really came on the scene and was actually red hot at the time. Like, he's still getting reactions from the crowd, but he was hot at one point, maybe about 6-7 months ago, maybe a little bit more, around a year ago, and they missed their window. They didn't jump through the window, and now they just got him stagnant, just doing the same routine every single week, each week being interrupted by a new person, which will never apparently come to any kind of fruition because that person is moved away the next week. Case in point, this week's interruption was Mick Foley, completely out of place, coming out to interrupt Elias to promote the Hell in a Cell. For what reason is he interrupting Elias? It made absolutely no sense. Mick Foley, you know, again, fucking fantastic on the mic, tore Elias apart, did a very good job to hype up the consequences of a Hell in a Cell. But multiple times in this match, he had to reference Stephanie McMahon, which kind of made me wonder why he would be talking about how, oh, well, when I left Stephanie, I begged her, don't shut me out, you let me stay in. And then Stephanie said, oh, you know what, Mick, you can have just for one night, you can book one more match on Monday Night Raw for old time's sake. Why? Do we not remember how that all ended up? Stephanie McMahon is a bitch. Why would she be giving Mick Foley anything? Did we not see how she was just treating Kurt Angle? Why is she not there to support Baron Corbin? But she's giving phone calls to Mick Foley and giving him authority to book matches, but she's not involved with anything going on with Constable Dickhead. And this is okay with you. Makes absolutely fucking no sense to me. Mick Foley initially was just sent out there to introduce Finn Balor. That's it. 20th anniversary. Mick Foley speaks. Here's Finn Balor to fight Elias. That's the whole point. That was the point of the whole segment. Finn Balor fights Elias for a good 15 minutes. We're coming up on 11 o'clock. This was the main event matchup of the night. A inconsequential matchup thrown together by a legend for absolutely no reason, no consequences. Finn Balor comes out, smiley, happy Finn. What are they calling him now? The extraordinary man that does extraordinary things. More like the directionless man that does disinteresting things. All he does is come out and he smiles and he throws his hands out, right? And he's going to wrestle fucking Elias for what? Just because of Mick Foley saying so? This was a matchup, again, that we've seen countless times last year while Elias was red hot. And now we're getting it again for nothing. Just so you guys here, watch some wrestling. All for Elias to lose to Finn Balor. Finn Balor finally gets a win. I guess that's the silver lining here. We could get to see Finn Balor get a win for once. But again, directionless. Disinteresting. Same thing with Elias. There is no direction for either one of these men. And that's why they were thrown together tonight. Because they just needed to throw something else on tonight. Who do we got that's really doing nothing? Well, everybody, if you want to be honest with it. But, you know, the most people doing nothing right now are Shiny Happy Finn and the singing guy with the guitar. Yeah, put them back. They wrestled okay last year. It's Raw. Who gives a shit? We got to worry about Evolution and all this other shit, which is going to suck just as bad as this Monday Night Raw. Who cares? Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns end this show. Braun Strowman again with his hokey, "Where's Roman?" all fucking night long, leading them to the top of the announce desk. Roman Reigns gets back into the arena. Again, the ineptitude of this police department. They didn't keep anybody out. The Louisiana Police Department sucks. Everybody in New Orleans don't trust the police because they can't even keep one man out of one giant building. Or 3 men, rather. In this case, Roman Reigns comes back into the ring. They hit the music. Nobody seen him. Nobody knew where he was. He was standing on the announce table, holding the Universal title from afar. We still barely, if at all, seeing the Universal Championship on television tonight. We didn't see the Intercontinental Championship at all tonight. Once again, being hidden behind the Roman agenda for no good fucking reason. All for them to go off the fucking table through the stage. Big pop shot, trying to get everybody all excited. Let's cause some chaos, because everybody likes chaos. You can't boo chaos. We can't boo a table spot. Then you got Roman standing at the top of the thing, all victorious after the big old close-up on his mug. Did he even go back to get the Universal title? I don't even remember if he was holding it now, because I didn't even give a shit. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was your fucking go-home show for Hell in a Cell this Sunday. I did not want to sit here and even do this show tonight. That's how bad Monday Night Raw was. I was so disinterested by the end of the night. I had a hard time even taking those. I was lucky that I got the 2.5 pages down that I did. I didn't want to fucking write down anything, because I don't even want to remember this show after tonight. We're going to be here all week long. Don't forget, Hell in a Cell is this Sunday. There is also something very special about this Sunday, too, which I will let you guys in on as we get closer to the weekend. So make sure that you are here to not miss it. You make sure there are 2 things you can do. And the first thing you do is hit that notification bell to make sure that you are notified every time a video like this one jumps up in your subscription boxes. But most importantly, to do that, make sure you are subscribed. We are on the march to 1K. We are going to fucking get it before the end of the year, and it's going to start with you. I know it. I can feel it right now. You are still here. It's 47 minutes. You enjoyed everything I had to say. Hit that fucking subscribe button right now, bitches, because you know you had a great time right here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. All of my sledgeheads in the Sledgehammer Wrestling Club, Sledgehammer Club, are the smartest, most knowledgeable wrestling fans. They see through the fog that the WWE wants to throw at you guys. The fog of war every single fucking Monday, and we are here with our hammers to bring the hammer down on Monday Night Raw and break through that fog and give you guys the absolute truth, so you were not fooled by Monday Night Raw. I did my job if I educated you even just this much. Don't forget to be following me on Twitter. At Nick Nightmare is the handle. I was pretty much silent on Twitter all day throughout Monday Night Raw today. Not something I usually do, but I have been noticing a lot of the things that I've been saying on Twitter showing up in various other spots. And just find it quite interesting how some people are either on the same wavelength as me to a T, or they're reading and using some of my stuff, which I don't mind at all. Just wish I would get a nod every here and there from anybody that decides to use anything that I say. I have no concrete proof of that. I'm not making accusations. I'm just saying I'm seeing things and I'm hearing things, and I'm like, hey, I know I said that. I'm pretty sure I said it first, which means I said it best, but sometimes that's not always the case. Thank you guys for indulging my bullshit on the outro here today. Like I said, the whole point of that, don't forget to be following me on Twitter, Facebook.com/The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, all one word, the Facebook home of the show. We are also available on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher Radio, All of my Mae Young Classic coverage is up live on the channel right now. Don't forget to be here for that this Wednesday and tomorrow night. We will be here to bring the hammer down on SmackDown Live if necessary, which most Tuesdays it is, just never as hard as it is on a Monday night. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is my team, the best tag team in the entire world of podcasting. Thor the Sledgehammer, the wrestling god of thunder and the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. His tag team partner, the world heavyweight champion of all the microphones in all the world, Mr. Blue the Snowball. We are so glad to be with you guys here tonight. Thank you all so very, very much. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This has been the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's Monday Night Raw review for September the 10th, 2018. That's going to do it. We are out of here, and we will see you next time right here on the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. Have a good one.